What's up, guys? We're back. Ross, PXF, Planet X Film. Check out the Zodiac Files, my new series, episode 2 out now. Episode 3 coming soon. We got Greg from the Gray Stage podcast, Gray Stage book, your many other channels. And you guys saw him last time with me for the Gray State 2014 script deep dive that we did on the release of that kind of unfinished script project. I kind of consider that my angle in this whole thing is focusing on the project itself. And when I kind of considered myself as the Gray State expert, I was like, dude, Greg, I read the script. I'm totally on point. I know what I'm talking about. He's like, which script did you read? And I was like, wait, what? I was like, there's two. So he kind of got me on that one. I went over to his website, got the copy of the first edition. And if you guys remember, I wasn't really pleased being one of the initial associate producer investors with what we got with that second version. Greg said, check out the first version. I did that. Yeah, there's a lot more that I like in this, for sure. There definitely is a lot more that I like in this, but I have my criticisms for this one as well. Quite frankly, what I think would have been the best is probably a combination of the two, take the best elements of both parts, and I think that could have been wielded into the ultimate Gray State concept. And then we're going to talk about DAM, Danny August Mason. Dude, the highlights about that guy are outlandish, so I'm going to definitely be talking to him. I don't know what's going on there. But what's up, Greg? Welcome back.
Thank you, brother. Always glad to just be here and just chat about this stuff, chat about this script. And I know that there's a lot of people that are very curious to hear your thoughts on this script too. So I'm
definitely.
This should be fun.
Yeah.
In some ways. In other ways, it may be disturbing to some, but it may be a little frustrating at some point.
The truth. A roller coaster of emotions, because everything involved with this kind of, I feel like, has to be. Shout out to you guys, the work you've been doing on the podcast and stuff. Make sure you guys, first and foremost, go follow the Gray Stage and check out, is it graystage.com? I should know that by now.
The website is if you go to thegraystage.wordpress.com. So it's really just a WordPress.
Yep, but, get that, or Google the Gray Stage. His stuff will come right up.
You'll definitely find it. But all the documents are there, all the photos are there. So if anybody wants to go, you can download that stuff now and check it out, man. Especially if you really care about this case, because the propaganda has been there's so much of it that I think it's just like cut through all that stuff. Just look at the document, look at the stuff for yourself, and I think you'll be able to see why this case is so strange.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. At some point, I want to really return to this. Hopefully when I finish my Zodiac series, and there's a couple other things I'm gonna do, like DB Cooper, but I would like to return to this case full time. How you guys are on it as well, because I think you guys are really spearheading the work through that, and I kind of come in and out with you guys. But more importantly, if you guys want to follow what we do on my channel, PXF. Go download the 2014 version of the script, and you can kind of follow that along how Greg and I deep dived it last time. Then if you want to do the same with this one, you can first and foremost head over there, Gray Stage WordPress, get the 2013 version, and you can get the PDF for yourself. And shout out to it was your member who found this floating in cyberspace, correct? And then she screenshotted everything for you guys to get the copy of this version. So that was awesome as well.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, thank you again for that. That really helped. Again, that's all it is. We're all just working towards one goal, and that's to get justice for this family. That's the main goal here.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I like how you guys are crowdsourcing the information. You're doing a really good job of that. Like this, that's really what I see. There's this other channel, Sup Ray May. That's my dude, Ray May. I'm gonna be posting your battle and running some promo on that too. So shout out to Ray May. That's my dude. He does some different anime shows with us. He's in the chat right now. Awesome. What was I just saying before that? I totally blanked out on that. As far
the whole crowdsourcing.
Crowdsourcing. This is what it was. I see you guys crowdsourcing the Crowley case over there, and you're uncovering like new stuff all the time. There's this other channel called Manny Grossman. They're crowdsourcing the Sons of Sam murders in the New York. I don't know if you've heard about the process and the whole conspiracy about how good looks, Ray. I appreciate you. About how they think that the Sons of Sam would not just David Berkowitz, but a cult of multiple killers, as well as the Process Church, which is connected to the Manson family, as well as the Zodiac. It's a very loose thing, but it's basically saying that if you would have had this thread of a cult connecting all of these things, you would have had the New York operations, the Sons of Sam murders, the North California Bay, the Zodiac murders, and then obviously Manson family was South California, which was, LA. So you would have had these different chapters of an overall cult. It's an interesting theory. Anyway, those dudes are crowdsourcing that case over there. They're uncovering crazy stuff. So that is really what the Zodiac needs. Even if we have some of that in the Zodiac community and some of that like in the forum, but it's mostly like Tom Voigt and a few of these Richard Grinnell, these few other guys doing it, like very few people doing it. And they are covering us. Have been some breakthroughs. Obviously, you saw the cipher. The first cipher got solved with those guys. That was crazy. And there's been some new breakthroughs with the Cherry Joe Bates case. But that's really what the Zodiac needs. If we could get our case crowdsourced, like how you guys are crowdsourcing and the Sons of Sam guys are dude, we'd at least have like a bunch of these garbage suspects eliminated. So anyway,
that can definitely happen, man. Just keep on doing it. We've been at this for what, 6 years now or something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you just gotta keep going, keep going with it. Whatever will happen. Yep. It'll happen, man.
So yeah. Shout out to Ray May. Shout out to everybody from the Gray Stage crew. I saw all Greg's people came through. Subscribed. Little Bear subscribed to my music channel. That was nice. Crazy. I don't know if you guys listen to underground hip hop or what, but if I really see you subscribing to the music channel, now you've gone over and above like supporting what we do at Planet X Media here. So actually, I got a joint for you. I got to send you, Greg. If you haven't heard our new song, Substance Death, we have a little. I put a little GS reference in there for you guys with a little bit of usually. I'll sprinkle a little something underground hip hop stuff. But you guys came here for the script.
Great,
so let's get it popped off. I actually opened the PDF on my screen unlike last time, so I look way ahead of myself.
Yeah, and the script is kind of blurry, and that's because it was from a screenshot. And what's crazy is, thankfully, what happened is somebody posted this script in the group. There was definitely malware or something like that on it. So the goal was for us to because first we thought it was the 2014 script, and when I started reading, I was like, whoa, this is not the same script. So before we kind of made a big deal out of that, we had several people take screenshots of every page first. Then we started posting into the group, letting people know, hey, this is a different script. Well, right after we did that, I think that the script was taken down. So it was a good thing that we did screenshot everything. Yeah, that's why the quality, if you look at the quality, that's why it's a little bit blurry.
Yep. I see that. So here you go, guys. If you remember the last one, it kind of started off with this 9/11 Osama bin Laden thing. This one is quite a bit different. We're basically going to be doing spoilers, guys, unless you want us to flat out tell us in the chat if you're just so scared of a spoiler you want us to go over to the next thing, and then we could do that too. But anyway, I got to say what Greg said about one of them being Tom Clancy and one of them being Stephen King. Okay, a few things about that. Tom Clancy got ripped on all the time by Richard Marcinko and those guys for just being like a pencil pusher dude that didn't see any active combat. So I would expect way more realistic active combat from David Crowley than I would expect from Tom Clancy. But I totally get what you mean with the military style. Stephen King, I'm a New England guy. We're not gonna play around with Stephen King's name because he's the GOAT. He's the gold standard. So I see what you mean in some of this weird supernatural stuff with the Stephen King, but we're gonna tread softly on that one. Okay. So it's another weird intro, guys. It starts out with 1936 Germany. This character, Abner Nikasi, he's essentially this Nazi officer. Is that correct, Greg? And he's in 1936, and then it basically pans. It pans to later on. It pans to 72. I think it's Daniel's grandfather or whatever. But it didn't really make sense to me, and even how they brought this spoiler alert, how they brought this scene back in the end when he has that flashback. I understood the flashback, but I didn't necessarily understand why. But maybe you could explain that to me, or we could just gloss on to where it goes. But I do like this Daniel character. He's pretty badass.
Yeah, I think that first scene, what it sets up, and it's just a few lines there, but I think what it sets up is the red book that we're going to see. They go back and they go back over that, and then it's basically about this Simeon character. And I think what they're trying to do, I could be wrong, but I think they're trying to make the connection between the whole Nazis and the cult. And so they're really, just kind of messing with that. But yeah, I was hoping for a better payoff. Usually when you do the very first scene. There should be, because I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to have the first scene and the last scene, and it comes together.
Right.
They did something similar in the 2014 script, but with this one, it was a little like I didn't really get the payoff that I was kind of hoping for. But it really, with the whole script, I didn't get the payoff. Have you ever read the book 1984?
Yes.
After reading 1984 and after reading the script, I had the same feeling. I was like, it put me in a very bad mood. You know, there's just no hope. No.
Again, 1984 is another one of those. That's like the gold standard of dystopian. You know what I mean? So it's like nothing is going to come close to Orwell in my mind. I read a lot of like Phil Dickian universes. Philip K. Dick. Are you familiar with him?
I haven't,
He did like. Have you seen the movie Blade Runner, Minority Report, Total Recall? All of those are based on. Awesome. He's kind of like a Matrix version of Orwell, because Phil K. Dick's whole thing is waking up out of a dream, or actually that new video that we did I was telling you about, Substance Death, that's based on the movie A Scanner Darkly, which is another one of those like psychedelic. Phil K. Dick is like a mixture of 1984 and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Everything he does is very psychedelic and very and also the Matrix theme, like waking up out of a dream, that's a key Phil K. Dick thing. So it's like 1984 but also Inception, or have you seen the movie Equilibrium? Like similar to that type of universe, you know what I mean? So
that's his real name, Phil K. Dick.
That's Philip K. Dick. Yeah. Okay. So you know when they say like Orwellian, when they refer to Phil Dick, they call it like Phil Dickian. Hilarious, but he's by far my favorite author, and he's very similar to that kind of that Orwell concept that you were referring to. So anyway, guys, again, same thing what Greg was talking about. Yeah, there's this red book and this black magic theme. Honestly, I don't think it's the Nazism black magic theme is fully realized, because I would expect to see something about like Operation Paperclip. I think an Operation Paperclip movie would be awesome just about that. I think I was going to ask you if you've seen this series. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Is it The Killers? And it's got Al Pacino in it. I assume you know about Operation Paperclip.
Yeah.
So this show is like somewhat about that. I was going to recommend it for you, just if you're into this type of stuff. Let's see,
I do have Prime. So.
Crap. I don't. Maybe I got the name wrong, but it's got Al Pacino in it. It's basically a secret society of like Jewish descendants. You know what I mean? And they basically hunt down like Operation Paperclip like agents. You know what I mean? That are like they'll be like 70s, 80s. You know what I mean? And just like offing them because they're hiding in America. You know what I mean? It's basically like Hunters. That's what's called. Hunters. Check that out. Yeah, it's dope. That's it. It's literally. I mean, it's not necessarily. You know, it's like a fictitious narrative, but it's like takes place after Operation Paperclip. Anyway, I just taking this subject and isolating it. I always thought just about like Jack Parsons and the OTO, like Aleister Crowley. That's the story I want to see. And when they dipped into this, I was like, okay, are they going to show any of that? But then it, like you said, then it just like, it's Bohemian Grove, and we're going to get to Bohemian Grove and stuff like that. I was going to ask you about, because you've been covering the Grove for years, right? Was there any activity this year? Did you cover it, or?
Yeah, I didn't go. Usual? We do have people there. We did have people there. They had a drone too, so it was the first year that they had actual drone. I don't think they've had time to put up any footage or anything. Some weird stuff like that, but. Yeah, it was business. They were back in business. In 2020, there was nothing. Even though we saw a couple cars in 2020 going in, going out. There were families actually going in and going out. But this year they were fully back. They had the guards out there. They come out there and they warn our guys, hey, just make sure you don't, say anything bad to the workers. So they took a lot of photos, a lot of film. And there is a Resist the Grove Facebook page, so you can always go there and you can check out all of those photos. They have posted a lot of photos, a few videos, but I'm waiting for them to post like a real in-depth thing of everything that they have, and some of the drone footage. I'm curious to see, because I think the Bohemian Grove workers were not happy about the drone being there this year, so we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I've seen people have gone in there during the day and shot the owl. I'm sure you've seen that stuff. I think it was on YouTube or whatever. How they had like those close-ups of the owl and shit. It's definitely a large structure. You know what I mean? It's certainly
Absolutely.
a weird thing that's going on over there. I remember because at the we tried to get this up for you guys. What was that? End of July that they do the Grove or
yes, probably mid July.
Yeah. That's Greg had hinted to me last time like we should do this review around the time of the Grove. We both had wanted to freaking do that, and we both got bogged down with things that we had going. But we're close enough. We're not that far off. We're only a few weeks off. This is still Grove season, if you will. So that was I was like thinking to myself like I was like, wonder why he said that. I had a feeling there's probably something, which I think is one of the best scenes in there. It's just the only problem with the Grove is like it's like Secret Society light, you know what I mean? It's so like Alex Jonesy from like when he did the Dark Secret of Bohemian Grove back in the day. It's like a kind of, what was that, 2002 or whatever when he blew the case open. So it was like them taking that and putting it in Gray State. It just made me feel too like InfoWarsy. I was like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, everybody knows they do that like cremation of care ritual out there, but it's kind of like the overblown one, you know what I mean? Because of when Alex Jones did that documentary back in the day, he kind of exposed it. So I was hoping to see something a little bit like fresher from Gray State, but it's still cool. I mean, it's good content. It's a good scene. I think it's definitely one of the best scenes in there. But I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, I probably would have ended the whole film right there. I would have ended it right there. It sets up a good part 2 and everything, and you could even think everything that comes after that. You could even see that as a part 2, as a sequel to it. But that scene to me was so powerful, so visual. You have a guy, one of the main bad guys, who is basically like a walking demon or has some supernatural powers. There's because they go through the whole ritual of sacrificing somebody, and when they get up close, when these patriots get up close to the body, it's a child's body. So it really is going to say they're sacrificing children at Bohemian.
But the only problem is that was what the whole Alex Jones Dark Secrets of Bohemian Grove was. That's what he was saying. So it was like I already knew that was. If you've seen that Alex Jones documentary happen and you see this scene outplaying, which is like I get it. That was, but like. Are we talking about the freaking upper echelon of like the Illuminati, like the darkest forces of the world, where you have these like psychic vampires and you know what I mean? You've seen some of these people on YouTube and stuff like that of the blood drinking rituals and whatever, this reptilian vampirism. I would expect to see something much worse than that than just the Bohemian Grove ritual. You know what I mean? Just because of the level, if you're dealing with pure evil, you're dealing with pure evil, you know what I mean? Like you're going to probably expect the worst. So I was like, yeah, I get it. It's bad, but it's like, it only showed you 1% of how bad it is. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, when the guy gets shot, the main bad guy, I think he gets like his throat sliced or something, and then a couple scenes later, he's back and he's fine, and it's pretty trippy stuff. I think. Yeah,
but, for sure. No, I like the scene. I like that. That was, like I said, is probably my favorite scene in there.
Yeah. Well, because when one of the early crime scene photos that we had the actual owl. It had that there. That was in David's office, and for years it's like, what the heck? Why is this there? Is this a movie prop? Is he worshiping it? What the heck is going on here?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
And so after reading that script, now okay, now it makes a lot more sense. I still want to know who made it. I mean, I think it was handcrafted for David, if not by David. I don't know who made it or whatever, but it's very accurate.
For sure.
It was pretty trippy, but kind of like, like a Red Dawn scene or something too. So all these patriots take over Bohemian Grove pretty much, and just start. There's just this huge gun battle. It was crazy entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, it was freaking awesome. I mean, it was like you said. I mean, I would if we're going to be a series or something, then what I would expect is this: like they're going to go through all those kind of New World Order tropes like that, and if that would be like the first one, if you could revisit every scene like that, like the Skull and Bones crypt, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna go to every chapter of the Illuminati and clean house, like how they cleaned house at Bohemian Grove. Then you could get a series out of it of the, you know, like the Nazi bases, the boo. You could hit every faction and if it were to go global, you know what I mean? Like it would be
For
really
sure.
nuts. Let us know what you think, Sophia. You know what I mean? What
Hey,
did
Sophia.
you like? What didn't you like? Yeah, so we'll revisit that. Let's pop back to the beginning because I think
Sure.
due to the current pandemic and Dr. Fraudchi, we will see some crazy things in this Gray State script. I've seen people mention this on the forum. If we head on over to page 7, and this is going to be fun because, you know, like you said, it has the different thing on the PDF, and then it has the page. So God knows which one it is, but on page 7 on one of these, yeah, I think it is the same. What do we got? We have a biometric device, and that's not what it looked good for. Well, we got the vaccine in here, which is crazy, the vaccine reference.
Yep. The medical mask at the bottom of page 6, they talk about person in a medical mask, and then I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty interesting stuff there too. And like you said, at the top of page 7, the biometrics and all of that. So you could tell it's almost like a post-COVID world that the script takes place in.
Yeah, that vaccine interested me because I mean, not that it was the most impossible thing to like difficult because you know to predict because it's not like the technology didn't exist or something like that, but nonetheless, you have to wonder with, I mean, there it is. All around them are posters of RFID, vaccine, and political slogans. I mean, as Greg says, that sounds a lot like 2021. You know what I mean? I know there was a lot of whole hysteria about this due to the Gray State team's, appearance on the Alex Jones InfoWars show. But you got to admit, there are things that they got right in here, and the vaccine's one of them. That's pretty bugged out.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I read that, I was like, wow, that's pretty accurate and pretty scary. We know that there's in some of the other trailers, there's a photo of David's wife. She must have done some B-roll footage or something, and she's in a surgical mask sitting on a bus. And so I was like, wow, this is pretty accurate, and just a little bit frustrating. We did, once the COVID happened, we did have a lot of people joined the group because they saw that there was some type of tie, and they hadn't read the script yet, but they were making
just
those
from the concept trailer.
Just from the concept trailer, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that bugged me out. That was a good start. I was like, I'm going to make a note of that, so Greg and I can talk about that. And that was pretty wild. I'm not going to lie. We had a conversation with David during our interview with him about art imitating life, and I think I was telling him about A Scanner Darkly, that movie I was telling you about. Basically, in A Scanner Darkly, there's everybody's addicted to this drug called Substance D, and it's actually the company who is like distributing it is also the company running the rehab centers for the addicts. And then when their minds are gone, they're taking them and working them in the fields. That's the flower that gets, you know what I mean? So it's all like a self-sufficient system, but at the same time, there's massive surveillance, and you know what I mean, a lot of similar types of things that you see in all of these same projects.
For sure.
I think it's page 43, the mall scene with the black bag. I think there's some cool stuff there.
Look at that.
Take a little visit for you guys.
43 on the PDF, or 43 on the physical.
Let's find out.
Okay.
Looks good. Yeah, I think it's the actual page. The page.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, the black van, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That would be page 41 on the PDF. Then 43 on the physical.
Yeah.
Script. Okay.
Yeah, so you got Dragon. Yeah, he's one of the villains.
Yeah, I was always trying to figure out, this guy is like almost like the main villain. He's like the sidekick, but really it seems like he's a lot more than just a sidekick, at least.
Yeah, he was definitely insane. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, he's the one with supernatural powers. Definitely, because something happens with him. He can basically shapeshift, so he's kind of like a shapeshifter, and he does that.
Yeah, the shape shifting was interesting. I did like that. Was definitely a nice a nice thing that was missing for the from the other script, because you could definitely do a lot with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was cool. I was glad to see that. Even though that last scene is a little wonky, we'll get to that at the end. I'm just like, well, also like you said about the Red Book, like spoiler alert, we'll probably revisit this, but they do that whole Bohemian Grove thing, like you said, this crazy shootout, like shut down the whole ritual, blah blah blah, and then at the very end when they got to that last the summoning ritual at the end, and he's like, you see, I don't even need the red book. The power's always been inside of me. The power's inside of all of us. And then it was like, okay, I get the twist within a twist, but now it just defeated the whole purpose of that other Bohemian Grove scene of going to get the book. Which I get it, like when you're the good guys and you're going to do the thing that's going to stop the enemy, you don't necessarily have all the details, but then. Like, that's the thing of just throwing the extra twists in there just to throw them in there. I'm like, okay, that's like, now the Red Book is irrelevant. So, like, whatever. I kind of got going after it on some Indiana Jones stuff, but then kind of lost me along the...
some Crystal Skull stuff. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, there was I thought there was a pretty cool mall scene on there, but I don't even know. Maybe...
Yeah,
maybe my numbers.
It's pretty small.
It's 41. You said.
Well, that's where that's the one with the 8-wit dragon. But the mall scene I believe is a pretty. Like, I know in the other script it's a bigger scene. There's a lot more dragons in that mall, but in this one I'm not. I think it's pretty small here.
Okay. Escaping it.
I mean, if you look even on page
it's just agents chasing him.
Page 42 of the.
Oh, it's when he gets black bagged, right? Yeah,
yeah,
when Dragon black bags him. Yeah, so that's there's like like what I was gonna say. That's what happens to Alex Jones in Scanner Darkly. He's like yelling on a megaphone, and he gets and they black bag him. All right, let's check page 65. The checkpoint. I think there's some good stuff here. Whoops, went way past it. But anyway, yeah, if you guys read it, I know Sophia read it. Let us know what you guys think of the live chat. 65.
Because the main character is basically a guy named Daniel Walker, right?
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend or wife or whatever is Kelly, right? And that's,
Yep. Yeah.
Those are the two main ones. And in I relate them to the 2012 trailer where Charles Hubble's character is pretty much Daniel Walker, the bald guy in the trailer, with his wife who works for the medical establishment or something. She's, the red hair lady in that trailer that is tagging people. And she's also the one who walks into the grocery store and sees that there's nothing there. So I think that's probably Kelly here. Or an updated version.
Yeah. So, and then what? And who was fucking Danny August Mason? Was he Wanek or?
He was John Wank, and you'll notice his character is not here. It's not here, if I remember correctly. So, I'm sorry, it's not in the 2014 script. So in the 2013 script, John Wank, Danny August Mason's character, would be like the supporting lead character in here. So he is a student of Daniel Walker, and so that's where their connection is, going back to their service days, I believe, in Afghanistan and all of that. So so John Wank, his character in this too is like, I was expecting a lot more from his character, because he gets into some weird Lakota prayer and stuff like that. So his character is a little odd, and there's a lot of weird scenes between John Wank and Daniel Walker, where they're talking and they're all of a sudden they're there in the same place, but they're really not. So they're like talking through this dream state or something. It's hard to follow. Some of it is hard to. I mean, visually, I can see. This would look great, but when I'm watching it, I would have so many questions. You would have to watch this movie a couple times. I think.
See, I was wondering if I felt that way just reading it, and I was wondering, like, would this stuff come across better on screen because they would just find it, like that kind of like Fight Club way of shooting it for you that you understand it. Because like with some of this stuff, I was like, okay, get what they're trying to go for, but I was like, I'm kind of lost in the vehicle that they're like using to do this. But yeah, they didn't have much of the native stuff in this one, right? I think
You're right. No, you're right.
I would have liked, that's a theme I think should have carried over, because I would have liked it to been like the native purist, spiritual thing versus the, satanic, you know what I mean, evil energy. Like that would have been cool. The native force versus the demonic force. I think that's a theme that is totally missed, that I would have definitely expected to see. You know what I mean?
That's like a poltergeist, right? That would be something like what you see in Poltergeist.
Yeah, for sure.
Poltergeist 2 really is really where they really highlight that stuff. And
yeah, see, I got to revisit. Yeah, I know Poltergeist. I got to revisit Poltergeist too. That would be cool. I think that'd be awesome. You know what I mean? Like like I was saying before, those are the main things. Especially with the Nazism stuff. Like I would have expected to see like the Vril Society, the Black Sun, like something that shows the origin of why they have that. That black magic, you know what I mean, secret society, or at least to line it up with Bohemian Grove to show you that, like, yeah, they're all doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And I didn't really see that. I think it's this checkpoint here, where they try to go through this checkpoint, and the dudes just pull out the AR-15s and start mowing people down. That gets pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff like that. It's a very, very violent script, and you kind of are, like the whole time I'm like, okay, how are they going to make it out of this? How are they going to make it out of this? And they don't make it out of anything.
Yeah, exactly. That part I think is kind of realistic, but I still think there's, I don't know, that sure. Ending is just, man, the DHS agent on page 66, stay your vehicles. The man brings up an AR-15 and opens fire. Grant and his family cower. A minivan behind them panics and guns the engine, attempting to escape. The turret gunner fires into the van, which slams into the shooter's truck and stops. The van has a stick figure, bumper sticker, a man, a wife, 3 kids. There's a momentary stillness before the screaming begins. Like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely parts that are like extremely well written. It's just the pacing and some of that stuff of some of the other scenes, like they kind of lose you in the length. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, there are a lot of people in this, a lot of different characters that I didn't know if a lot of them were actually necessary, but I want to be invested in the characters. I felt invested in Daniel Walker. It's probably the only one, and Kelly up to a certain point. I think those are really the only ones that I kind of started really caring for.
Yeah, I agree.
That was,
and even the way they were going out was like, oh man, I don't know, like you said, the way they lost, it's like they've been fighting through this kind of unrealistic like revenge, adventure, and then when they get caught at the end, they just go out in this wimpy way, and like I don't get it, the Patriots and the 3% and all this stuff, but like it's like even if you're a rebel, when you get captured, like you don't have like there's literally, unless all of you have been killed off, right, as rebels, you don't have anyone else that's going to be coming to back you up. Like, hey, if I get captured, I'm definitely going to be here, and then have another, you know what I mean? Maybe that's a little too Star Wars-y, but you know what I mean? It depends what you're going for, unless you have this ending where, all the good guys die, and then it's just like, unless you're not planning on making sequels, unless you're going to make sequels that are going to follow the expansion of the empire of the bad guys, and they're just gonna increasingly gain more power. There's not ever going to be any good guys that could take them down. You know what I mean? It's kind of the direction that it seemed like it was going in.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Definitely. Yeah, there's. I don't know. I guess I don't want to jump ahead too far, even though I kind of already have here. But
yeah, no, it's all good. I think I have. Let's see. I know that character, the 6. Some of those rebel guys were pretty cool. He was cool.
Yeah, 6 was cool. 6 is in the other one too, I think. If I remember correctly, he's in the 2014 one. But yeah, they're not really fleshed out that much. Those characters, kind of towards the end, you kind of get a little bit more about them, but you can tell they're pretty much just we're in this thing, and we're patriots, and we're fighting for freedom. We're fighting to get our country back. And then it's like, okay, not only that, you're fighting against something that has super human powers, and that is cult based and a very powerful source that is bigger than any Nazi group, that is bigger than any other group, bigger than the Freemasons. It really, I think what they were trying to do is show that, hey man, there is an all powerful evil source here that is bigger than all of this stuff here, and that's kind of the gist that I got. You know, one of the scenes with the president, it's an early scene on page 7 or page 10 with the president doing a Muslim prayer. I thought that was kind of odd too.
Some of that's what I feel about like whoever that villain was in the last one, and I told you like that guy just never gelled with me. It was the same type of thing. It's just like this foreign leader that you're, but again, it didn't, you know.
Yeah, they didn't. I didn't hate him the way I didn't hate.
It didn't fully realize like yeah, for sure. Okay, here, these quotes on 79, Daniel, voiceover. We're the generation we've been waiting for. Our last shot before the abyss. Let's get it on. So yeah, he's got a lot of lines like that, and he has some good, some decent revolutionary stuff. Page, I think 92. There's a badass quote from the Six. But yeah, I mean, we could get into the. I mean, you know, the whole Operation Medusa and the way they organize it out of the operations is definitely cool. Let me get your thoughts on the whole thing about, I guess it's supposed to be the Red Dawn theme of the foreign mercenaries, the Belgian troops. It's like, I understand about the whole foreign invasion concept, but the way it happened though just kind of felt like doing it just to do it, like just throwing them in there, but it didn't have it. Like you said, if it's an all-powerful satanic cult, what do they need to call in for foreign mercenaries for, right? It's like kind of like a little bit like overkill, like just to show that like, oh yeah, okay, everything is globalism, but at the same time though, I felt there could have been a better way to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Belgian, why Belgian? I didn't really understand that really. I mean, it could have been anybody. It could have been any group,
exactly.
I was expecting like China or Russia or one of the big powers, but the Belgians, like besides waffles, what have they really done? You know?
Really good chocolates. Like, fine, I'll take one of those while you're here. I mean, I guess you're gonna kill everybody, but
why not?
Do it with some class. What about like Austrians are showing you that like the Bavarian Illuminati chapter is still active, and then it could, you know what I mean, then go back to the Nazism. It's like the Fourth Reich, you know what I mean? So that's
German.
That's good. When it was like Belgian, I was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there must have been a reason. There must have been a reason for that. Maybe there's a big Belgian cult, big Belgian satanic thing.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I guess maybe there was a reason. Who knows? I mean, again, that's what I think. I really think the best, like, take the majority of what you got in this here, just flesh out the whole satanic, demonic summoning, you know, magic, and figure out exactly what you're going to do for that, like in a way that works perfectly, or whatever, how you got to relate to its storylines, like you said, for the callbacks to have a worthy payoff. And definitely the Lakota theme or the native tribe, definitely like bring back that. Also the dark zone of the 2014 script. I think that was like one of the best parts in that one. So take the native theme and the dark zone part, put those into here, and then I don't know, maybe shorten this, because this end does really hit a spree where it just goes a little bit long after the Bohemian Grove scene. But let's go to the Six quote on around page 92. Right now I'm on page 90, guys, if you guys are trying to follow along. The Six voiceover: you've destroyed our cities, murdered and imprisoned us, and declared us enemy combatants, subject to the laws of war. It's basically like his voiceover. I like some of these series of shots, montages that they do. I think this really would have been one of the best parts at Gray State. There's one right here. I'll read it just because I'm on it. The light wing aircraft lands on a deserted roadway in a redwood forest. Six and the others hop off the plane. They are met by other ex-military types, embraced like old friends. Six in total camouflage slowly climbs a tree. Ghillie suited, Chris low crawls into a firing position. I mean, that's a really nice, you know, sequence right there.
Yeah, and that's at the Grove. So this is them setting up. So this thing that Six is doing, they piped it in. It's playing. I think it's playing across the whole country. People are hearing this as these guys are setting up, about to ambush the Bohemian Club, or the people inside of the Grove. Which I thought, yeah, it's an awesome setup. You could have even started the whole script with this here, and then went through everything else, and maybe came back to what happens when the shooting starts. But yeah, I think right around here, right around page 90 of the PDF, which is page 92 of the physical script, that's where things really, really pick up. And this was definitely one of my favorite scenes here. Just reading when you read that, because it's very, very powerful. It is very entertaining. I can see this. I can visualize this. Yeah, and he's just ready there. And then I don't know if they show it here, but at some point he's ready, and he looks out of the corner of his eye, and there's this black being, and that's Dragon. But it's not Dragon. It's like Dragon in this shape shifting thing. So it gets crazy, and you're like, all right, well, all bets are pretty much off at this point.
If I understand it correct, part of the ritual of sacrificing this child is, what they say about these upper-level Illuminati reptilians is that, drinking the children's blood with the adrenochrome is, they didn't really show that, but by sacrificing the child's energy, like, he's able to, upgrade his fucking demonic force here. And there is some amazing dialogue from the Six on these voiceovers, so... Dictators die at the hands of their people. Now it's your turn. Back to the montage. Black-clad security sweep, a forest trail with dogs looking for explosives. A fire truck is allowed through the gates. A fire truck manned by Six's airfield friend discreetly dumps a heavy liquid from a fire engine into a remote river. The liquid flows downstream. To our brothers in the military, you no longer have the choice of just going along with tyrannizing Americans. You no longer have the choice of just following orders, because after tonight, you have to fight us. We will not disarm, and we will not comply. If you violate your oaths, you won't be able to tyrannize Americans anymore, because you and I will be too busy killing each other. Simon Nikasi, he's so I guess he's the Nazi agent, right? Because Abner was his, I guess.
Abner was the grandfather, and this is the grandson, Simeon.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Now is Daniel related to them? Because wasn't he at the is he's like another grandson or something like that?
I think Simeon is either his father or if I remember correctly, it's like his father. It's that Luke Skywalker moment that they have at some point in there.
Again, I would have done without the Luke Skywalker moment in Gray State, but yeah, I feel you.
Well, there's no lightsabers, so that's all right.
No,
they didn't go too far.
All right, that was for my boy Mac. To all you veterans who stood by and let this happen, I don't care how old you are, how busted up you are. You have a duty to stand. Your oath expires when you do. As long as you're on this side of the grass, you're still on the hook. I mean, it's very oath keepers heavy. You know what I mean? But where are we at? 92. To you illegals and traitors barricaded in Washington, whose only weapons are fear and force, we will retain our right to vote. You will under Rule 308. We are physics. Get out now or expect the equal and opposite reaction. Fellow patriots, tonight we will buy you a head start. But after the fireworks, expect you to do your duty with speed and vigor. It was a cool way to do it. I mean, this 4th of July, earn your independence, stand now or kneel forever. I do love that stand now or kneel forever quote that they kept doing in those Gray State trailers back when they were making them. So yeah, it's quite a it's dramatic, but it's definitely entertaining and definitely has the energy, high octane. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, all of that is happening while Simeon is at the Grove and is about to sacrifice this child. He is in a white robe, similar to the 2012 trailer. Like in the 2012 trailer, the guy who's chopping off heads. So
the Masonic executioner.
I was kind of hoping. I was like, okay, so he is that person. But really, the 2012 trailer, it is a concept trailer. So you can see some of the concepts that they took from that and they kind of built on that. So Simeon is still in this white. He's not chopping off heads here. Heads do get chopped off later on.
Yeah, they do that execution scene, but it's that different device that David was talking about. It's that multiple head chopper Forget what
I've
they
never
called
heard
it.
of that before until I read this. I was like, what the heck? But I mean, that was pretty nuts.
He created it because we were talking about it. I when we interviewed him, I was like, "Hey, Dave, what's up with that friggin' that guillotine scene?" I was like, "That's brutal," and he's like, "Yeah, you know what?" He's like, "We changed that." He's like, "Because I thought of something else," and I'm like, "If you actually make sense, if you're a dystopian government that mass decapitates people, a regular, French Revolution style guillotine is probably not going to do it to the speed and efficiency that you want."
I remember that. Did you guys talk about the Masons in it? Did you ask him about why there's a guy in a Masonic
I think
apron?
I did ask him about the apron, but I mean, it was basically he just gave kind of a cryptic answer. I haven't listened to the interview forever because I don't sit there listening to my own content 24/7, despite what people may think. But but that is a classic. I mean, I've listened to it many times. I can't. It was 2012 when we did that, so I think I said like, "Hey, what's up with the apron on the?" But it was basically just like. Yeah, that's that faction, and I don't know, because you don't really fully. I don't think the Masonic theme is fully realized in here, right? Other than the Bohemian Grove and these Nazi chapters, they don't really do much with the whole Masonic thing. Let's go back to Greg's favorite character, Simeon. The owls, this is like right out of the Dark Secrets of Bohemian Grove, guys. From if you see the Alex Jones documentary, it's way back when. This was one of the first big things for me when I saw that crap because I was like, damn. I mean, I knew a little bit about Bohemian Grove, but when he actually went in there and filmed the entire cremation of care ritual, that was bugged out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Alex Jones fan by any means, but just back then, what he was doing back then with those early documentaries was pretty crazy. So if you guys have seen that, I don't even know if it's on YouTube. I think it used to be back in the day. I don't know what's allowed anymore with you guys in your feelings. But this dialogue is like directly from the priest in that Alex Jones documentary. The owl is in his leafy temple. Holy are the pillars of his house. Weaving spiders come not here. There's a clang in the trees. The rest of the priest procession takes up positions in an array in front of the owl idol. Guys, if you know what Greg was talking about with that Bohemian Grove owl statue that David had on his desk, and then that's a massive, what is that, 20 feet tall, Greg? I mean, Greg's over there by
40 feet
area. 40-foot tall owl. It represents the Molech statue of the Canaanite religion. And they do these sacrifices here with this cremation of care ritual. So he's basically giving you this dialogue that's straight out of that ritual. Hail, cast to the winds the cares of life, for now gather the forest folk to cast spells over who we mortals to touch our world blind eyes with the carrion. For at last, with moss rending the stones of Babylon, the watchers of the night bear witness to the final victory at hand. The crowd cheers as Simon's voice warps slightly as if masked by something else. In the trees unseen, Six is perched with a sniper rifle, an array of playing cards taped to the branch, each with a different face on it. Targets. He adjusts the angle on the mounted camera nearby. Simon's still going. For our lasting reward, we turn to one alone. True believers, Sakare Ka Ad Zamren. It is here our funeral pyre awaits but one thing. Maybe you guys can clearly, I imagine, see what's about to happen if you study this material, but I think Greg gave you a little bit of spoiler early on. It gets pretty spooky. This is where we're getting into the Stephen King territory.
Yeah.
Where did I take us to on the script? Because I think
right here. 96.
Yep. So they have the effigy there. Obviously, the crowd cheering. This is right out of the cremation of care ritual. Old world fire shall have its will of thee. Through this cleansing of fire, once again we are set free upon earth. Let's see. Chris watches as the priests drop their torches onto the body, which immediately is set ablaze. There's a terrible screaming. That's the part that Alex Jones is saying. Like, you can hear the person screaming, and it's definitely you know what I mean. I don't know. It's you can't really see from 1,000 feet back like you are in that documentary. So if they're gonna get the camera closer up here in this Gray State scene, we're really gonna get to see what's going on. So
well, that is part of the quote unquote play that happens at the Grove once the fire.
Yeah. They bring the effigy out over the river, like No, I've seen the whole thing.
Yeah. So that's when I heard that screaming, I was like, oh, that's bad.
No, it sounded like a person screaming. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Because you're supposed to believe it's an effigy, and you're like, okay, an effigy wouldn't scream when you light it on fire. You know what I mean? It's not that good. It's not that difficult to determine. So page 94, is a really good scene. This is, that's the whole setting of fire of the effigy. So you guys can read the script and tell us, when he gets up close there, there's a big fight between Six and the Patriots. They come right down on the owl. I mean, it's an awesome scene, like Greg was saying. It's we'll give you guys a little bit of it, I guess, since no one's protested on spoilers yet. Six arrive, page 95, middle of it. Six arrives at the owl, methodically shooting down priests who are fleeing into the woods. John forces Simon to his fleet, the ritual knife in his left hand. John to Six, the book. So they're trying to get the book up there, guys. It's pretty wild. This is where John has the tomahawk. Okay, so he does do a little bit of native stuff, but it's mostly just him using the tomahawk, right? It's not much else other than that, which freaking badass. I loved it. I think he should use it all the time.
Yeah, great. John, you're talking about Danny Mason's character, John Wink there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's mostly Dan and Kelly and John up there. Six, they have a pretty good square off, and then you have a little bit of black magic stuff that happens. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in. Let us know how we're doing, guys. Let us know what you think. So let's go to I think I got some notes here for us, guys. Let's go to right around here, 98 to 100. There should be some good quotes. So let's take us back a little bit. This is okay. Six draws a pistol and shoots Simon through the head. He goes to help John, but gunfire erupts near him and bullets shatter the area, driving them apart. That's pretty extreme.
Yeah, shoots him right through the head, and he'll be back.
Exactly.
I was like, okay, well, he's done, but nope, he's not done.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because when you're reading it in text, they kind of gloss right over that, like you said. But like in the movie, you would certainly take notice to that on screen. I guess they were broadcasting that live for the revolution, something
Correct.
like that.
Correct. Yep, they're broadcasting this, or they were broadcasting something live, or something was piped in, and then while all of this is actually happening. So, but if you go back to the same page 98, to the very top, that's where it does say it talks about the child, and so some parallels have been made regarding what really happened with David, as far as him dying, his wife dying, and the child dying, and you could make some of those connections, the parallels, I think, may be a bit of a stretch, but towards the end, I was like, oh crap, well, yeah, there's a few at the end that make some sense, but and read if you read that the sentence up there, Six suddenly sees blackened ribs, and we know that for Rania, one of her ribs was actually fractured, and so that's pretty creepy. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a coincidence or anything like that, talking about a small child, it's still pretty freaking creepy to me.
Yeah. I hear you. So this is page 100, guys. It's a Daniel quote. The only truth about people is that we create monsters of each other. And the real horror is not that we train children to hate and fight and kill. The real horror is that they're good students. And if that's where I come from, how could I ever be better? I mean, there's some high philosophical stuff in here, and that's really what I was hoping to see the most from Gray State, is that revolutionary state of mind, a la Che Guevara, guerrilla warfare, and see if they could capture that and harness it to a spiritual revolution against the New World Order. And some things deliver, and then some things are just so all over the place, like because this script is so long. That's the only thing about it.
Do you think maybe there were too many writers, too many people in that writing room?
Yeah, way too many. And I mean, also not only that, like I said, like we got to figure out what we're doing here. Like, are we using the first one, or are we using the second one, or what? Because if you're gonna hire like I was talking about last time, if you're gonna hire an industry script writer, they might just take all of the content that they have like right here in these two versions and be like and cherry pick what are the strongest parts, and then I imagine a lot of this stuff would probably get cut, like you were saying, like some of these secondary. There's no way I see that this works for a feature film, but like if what they were in talks with MEG was like a season one, like a Netflix season one or whatever, a streaming season one, then maybe you'll see everybody, because then they have 10 episodes to draw this thing out. So instead of like a 2-hour movie, 2.5-hour movie, you can go an hour episode and, you know what I mean, have 12 or 15 episodes, you know what I mean, whatever. Then you could probably cram every little side character in. But like you said, with all this extra material, extra scenes, 5 endings, and all these side characters in a feature film, I imagine you would not see all of this. You probably see a lot of this stuff get cut, you know. And for an action movie, dude, action movies are short. Action movies are like hour 15, hour 20, you know what I mean? So some of this extra, depend if it's going to be an action movie, if it's going to be a semi-action with a New World Order backdrop, but main center story is a love story. Like, it depends what way Hollywood would take it, because they always do a love story. So, you know what I mean? You might just have a 3-hour love story with some New World Order stuff happening in the background. You know what I mean?
In the background,
might be a freaking musical by the time he gets to Hollywood.
That would be interesting to see, a musical.
Not for me. They would X my name off that crap right away.
The guy singing while he's holding the severed head and everything. Yeah,
dude, I like where it's like a kind of Shakespeare. It's like an Evil Dead the musical, like Shakespearean kind of to be or not to be kind of thing. It's like it's like a John Woo movie where they're like spinning around shooting, but instead he's like singing his songs like while he's like mowing guys down like at Bohemian Grove. You know what I mean?
Yeah, blood is splashing on people in the audience as this is happening, and,
all over his face while he's hitting his solos. You know, what I mean? It's like that'd be a funny ass rendition of the cremation of care ritual for sure. All right, looks like I had a badass quote from somebody on 117, but my handwriting is literally atrocious. So let's see if I can find the character I was looking for, and then pretty soon. We're gonna get into these ending scenes, guys, with the big fights, and lead you guys into the big war here. So, like, that's the other thing about like the DHS director. Like, when he comes in and like they basically end up like going for him, but it's like you already had like Nakasi, you already had Simon, you already had Dragon, like you said, like you already had these several main villains, but then they brought in him, and then it was like everyone was just like going directly for the DHS director, and I was like, yeah, I get it. He's in charge of that, like, whatever FEMA coffin program, but, like, what about all these other guys who have been hunting you since the first scene, and you've already had all these big fights for? Now you're bringing in this other guy that we hardly know, and then I think he's the one who brings in the Belgians, right? So, like, what, his job was to just bring in foreign mercenaries? It's like, doesn't America already have the biggest, like, military in the world by far? So why would we even need to bring in foreign mercenaries, you know what I mean, to fight off some domestic rebels? It didn't really make a ton of sense.
I think a lot of that, I think what they were trying to do, it just didn't really get fleshed out, is that there was so much resistance here that, and I think a lot of people also think this too, if something were to happen, it would take a Red Dawn type thing. It would take foreign troops, and we were told that. Obviously, later on, my views on that kind of changed. Like, no, actually, I think a lot of people were right when they said no. It'll come from our own people, and so that's a very heavy concept too. But people can for a film. I can see it's easier if you have foreign troops, because if I see the foreign troops die, then great. I don't really care as a film watcher. Yeah, I'm not invested in them. But if it's the Patriots versus the Patriots, then it's like, that takes it to a whole nother level there too. So,
but I mean, wasn't it both? There, it's a domestic issue, and then the DHS brings in the Belgian troops to fight the American rebels, right?
Correct.
Right. So at that point, it's I think. I don't know.
Well, I also think, like how we talked about, this is kind of like a post-COVID era. So the population doesn't have guns. They don't really have any way to really fight back, except for to run, hide, and kind of get some cachets that that they've been burying for
Mhm,
years.
mhm, mhm.
Prepper type stuff, and so it's kind of on the
Yeah.
preppers that are leading all of these people.
Yeah. That's which is I'm totally in on that, but yeah, it's just like we said again, like for a feature film, like now, because of how far along we are, I'm having a tough time trying to squeeze that in. Again, if you have a TV series, you could do an episode on the foreign mercenaries invasion, right? Because each episode has to have have a new thing. Whereas you can have reoccurring enemies like Simon and Dragon and the top leaders, because they're with the amount of power and strength they have in troops, they're not going to get taken out right away, so they're going to be reoccurring. And then you could do an episode on the Belgian troops coming in, because now you need a new topic for each episode, right? So kind of like for an episodic thing, it works. But then for the script, it's like trying to squeeze it in here when there's already this giant war going on. It's like you said, there's all these different enemies now, and who's who and what's what. It just gets a little bit muddied.
It does, and it's harder for me to care about the characters because there's so many. So just give me 3-4 characters. I think they could have merged a lot of these villains, and a lot of the other characters. They could have merged them into just a couple characters. Didn't need so many.
Yeah, it's friggin' it becomes congested and a little bit like oversaturated, like you were saying. So yeah, I'm not sure. I have a good quote from somebody here, but here's one from Christian, page 115. It's the resistance, man. None of us have the luxury of trust. Lay low, then make a break for one of the free zones like Tennessee. If he finds you, he won't hesitate. So you can see that, at these, with this kind of William Cooper kind of clamp down on the Behold a Pale Horse thing here. You have these different zones, and some of them will be free zones outside of the I think it's Myola Cesarak, is he the Belgian or page 1. Well, hold on, was he even on that? Yeah, I got him. Page 117. It's 116 right here. Yes, your country was the most violent in the world before the success of the purges. I witnessed the savagery of the attack, and then is this back to I don't know if this is a reference of the purges or what, or this is the purges of the Patriots in the Gray State universe.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looks like. I mean, they're in the GNN studio, which is another reference that lasted from the trailer too.
Guerrilla News Network.
Guerrilla News Network. Yeah.
I think there is somebody that used that name. I didn't like the use of the purges, because a couple of the Purge movies were already out at this time, right? So I was like, it's the Gray State universe mixed with the Purge universe now? I don't even know. I'm confused.
When did those movies come out? Do you know the Purge movies? I thought they came out after his death.
That first one, dude, was probably like I remember seeing that in the theater a way long time back.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't seen any of them. But
last one. Oh, I guess you're right. It looks like the Purge one was 2013. So 2013. I guess they theoretically could have been writing this at the same time. That last one, the Forever Purge, is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Matter of fact, don't watch those last two. There's like 4 or 5 now, dude. It's gotten out of control. They purge themselves. There's too many purges. Stop purging.
The purge
I don't know why this turned into a purge roast, but Greg knows what he's getting with when he comes on my channel. So this guy, Mael Sarzak, I can't remember if he's the Belgian or who. He's talking to the Senator Ulrich. They're
Charlotte.
asking him. Go ahead.
And Charlotte too.
Yeah.
The news lady.
Yeah, so I guess this is an interview. They're asking him this question. There were terrorists here in your studio last July, and it was these purges that, Senator, please, and Mial Cesarek, no, I'll answer the question. The illegal is frequently necessary, but the unconstitutional takes longer. The new constitution dispels these individualistic notions that have perpetuated war agreed throughout man's history. Individual states must yield to an international authority in order to embrace peace. If humanity is to rise, we must let loose some, as you say, ballast. Yeah, I mean that concept is pretty good. The idea of these foreign entities wanting to come in and take away the state's independence. I think that is somewhat explained decently.
Mhm.
What about you, Greg? Did you find
Yeah.
that fully realized?
Yeah, I would say so. I think I kind of got stuck at the top, at the bottom of page 118,
Mm-hmm.
where Charlotte is talking about the Bohemian Grove thing, calls it a lavish weekend retreat, which says where the bones of a dozen children were reportedly found in cages.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
that was another
definitely.
one. Was like, oh my god. I mean, that you hear stories about that stuff,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's just very disturbing. And these guys, the senator, this other character, they're all kind of part of that. It's kind of what they're like hinting at, you know, trying to pretty much let you know, hey, they're also in on this, and maybe trying to show how deep that this whole thing goes. And these guys are pretty much giving you their game plan and trying to justify what they're doing, which is what we see our governments do all the time, try to justify why we have to go into other countries, kill other people, blah
Mm-hmm.
blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. It's for your own good. Why do you get these shot? You
The
know,
price
to
of freedom.
protect. Yeah, for the price of freedom. That's it. That's exactly it. And it's just so twisted here. Um, but you know, I think back then, I think this is what they were really thinking was where the world was going. And I think because of what David saw when he was serving, he could see that, you know, all it was like a test run for everything that was going to come here. So
For sure.
I think they kind of jumped the shark on a lot of the stuff here, but I can visualize where they're going with it, what they were trying to do. What I like about this whole thing is that this is the 2013 script, not the 2014 script. This is an earlier version, and obviously David threw out probably 90%, maybe 99% of this 2013 script got thrown out.
Okay,
Um,
let's talk about why that is, because I'm pretty sure Danny August Mason was the conspiracy guy of the two of them who did conspiracy lore, and I think a lot of this Bohemian Grove sort of black magic, all that stuff was this is just my theory
sure.
was his angle, and when David was removing his character, he cut out all the conceptual stuff that he got from his side of the story as well. That brings me to my point. At one point, I respected Danny August Mason as a possibly talented actor and possibly talented writer. With that being said, recent events in the group, dude, what is going on with that guy, dude? Are you serious, man? Like, I don't even understand how someone's life can fall apart like that. That's just crazy, man. Freaking, I mean, it brings a lot of credence to what you guys have been saying in the group to really see that happen to someone. You know what I mean? I can't say if it's related or not, but man, dude, it's sad, man. Fuck it,
You should
I don't get it.
you should probably tell people exactly what you're referencing here,
Okay,
for
so
people
what
that
I'm
don't know.
referring to is like this guy has been like arrested multiple times, 2 times for assault, and then a couple of the mug shots, he's got freaking black eyes because he got in fights or whatever, got beat up, and then it basically says that like the charges are like assault against a family member or whatever. Allegedly, I'm not saying I know this way or that, but that's the material that's out there posted with mugshots to corroborate. So I don't know. It seems like things kind of fell apart for the dude when he moved to Austin. Danny, I think you really should have taken the interview with me. I would have been much lighter on you guys than Greg and Dan. I'm sure I would have been much lighter on
Sure.
you. But I would have pressed him a little bit. I mean, but I think you just couldn't handle the heat with you guys. But I would have loved to have talked to him before things have gotten rough for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we could still do that. I'm sure you'd still be open to chatting with him, right? If he wants to.
If you wanted to come on, yeah, we could talk about the project. We could talk about some things. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like you guys scared him off. You know what I mean? Greg's already had some debates on his channel, so.
I mean, he was the one who wanted to debate us.
Right,
And so
right.
he came
So he
into the
said.
group. He made the offer, and then he went dark, and we never
Yeah.
heard from him again. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know what
Seems
happened.
like he's got his hands full now, but yeah, if he ever wants to come back on, you know what I'm saying? Heck, I would like to him be explained. Hey, was this first version a lot of your work, and did it get ripped out of the set? You know what I mean? Maybe he's
Right.
still hanging on because he thinks something could be done with the project, but it's like, man, I don't know. But yeah, that's my spiel on that, guys. It's good. Anyway, head on over to Greg's group and become a member, and you can see what we're talking about there. That's a bit of a side story, but a semi-funny one nonetheless. I'm sure you guys appreciated my commentary on that issue.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had black eyes in both of the
That's what I was
shots.
referring to when I made my comment.
Was it the same eye too? Was it the same eye? I don't
I
remember.
couldn't really see it in that first one. It wasn't as pronounced, but it was definitely like it was this eye in the second one.
Okay. I mean, this is way off topic here, but have
Yeah.
you seen those photos of all of the politicians, all of those people, even the Pope, and they're people that people kind of think that they may be involved in some cult thing, and they all have the same shiner. Have you seen a lot of that?
I mean, I haven't seen the shiner, but I've seen them like doing like the right eye thing, and like there's a lot of the.
Yeah, there's a ton of photos. Somebody did like a whole
like an initiation ritual.
Yeah, something like that. It's like, wow, they all have the same shiner on the same eye. These are all corrupt people. It was just when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's a little odd. I don't think it's related to it, but
that's weird. I think he's just getting his ass kicked. My whole thing is like, bro, like the way you guys pitched us these friggin' trailers at the beginning is you were this Jeet Kune Do badass, and how are you? How are you a master of Bruce Lee's, you know what I mean, freaking, discipline, and you, anyway, I'm not going to get into it, but it seems preposterous to me, like, hey, if you're really training martial arts that much, man, you should be able to, you should not be finding yourself in these situations as frequently as you are. That's my whole thing. So coming up here, maybe Greg can help me out. We got Severson's death and the Christians. The whole thing with the Christians, which I don't know. About that. Let's see if we can find Severson.
I was hoping there would be some Christian payoff. You see all this anti-Christian stuff throughout this whole script, and I'm thinking, okay, well, this is a Christian movie. Great. David makes it very clear at the Ron Paul thing, the Ron Paul speech that he did. He said, this is by no means a Christian film, but he kept saying it did have spiritual stuff in it. I mean, to me, this is like anti-spiritual stuff. When I think of spiritual stuff, I think of positive stuff. But I guess you could also think of spiritual stuff as anti-Christian stuff. Could also be, for some people that is spiritual stuff, I guess. But I was those comments were confusing. Quite frankly, I was like, I think with Gray State, you can avoid it. You know what I mean? Because if you really want it to be this universal thing, of course, like you said, like you already did the Muslim thing and the Nazi thing. At a certain point, like, I feel like you could easily do good versus evil without bringing Christianity into the thing. But you already did Bohemian Grove and made it weird. So like, what does it matter at that rate? You might as well just go for everything, right? Pretty much. There's no going back at that point. I mean, you have to go forward because now you've teased something really big that everybody knows about. They know whatever their view is on what happens at the Grove. You've kind of set it up, and now you're saying that they're sacrificing children there. So, I mean, it kind of, all of the Gray State, what the Gray State is, the police state, the takeover, all that really gets lost in this script because it's more focused on a paranormal thing. And we're going to definitely talk about that because after I finished reading it, I went back and read it a second time, and it was completely different because now I'm looking at it as a paranormal film. Whereas when I first read it, I was hoping for a police state film, and I did not get that. It was there, it was in the background, but it wasn't front and center like David's trailer looks like it is.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I think too. It's like you can have the overall macrocosm of the police state film and just have that paranormal entity just be that's that little capstone of the pyramid at the top. Like, it's based on that ultimate evil, and that's that, kind of like that 1% of it where there's that supernatural ultra evil, but 99% of the thing is just control. 99% of the tentacles are just control. You know what I mean? That makes sense to me.
I think people, what they wanted to see was, okay, how would the Gray State get formed? If something did happen, if they were going to take over this country, how would they do that? And I think that's what we were expecting from this 2013 script, and we definitely did not get that.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think this is the better version, man. I think my thing is kind of my Adobe's cropping out for a second. This is definitely the better version of the two. Like I said, I would have liked to seen the Lakota theme carried over here, the native theme. I would have liked to seen that dark zone part. And I think a meshing together and probably if it's a feature film, a meshing together of both and probably a shortening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would have been the bigger things, because otherwise it has to go for some sort of long form. You know what I mean? Like you said, to get these long scenes and all these side characters. You know what I mean, in there.
Yeah, I don't think people really care too much about even John Wink. He kind of gets lost in a lot of this stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's there, he's not there. His character, I thought his character would be a lot more central to this.
The way you see the freaking concept trailer, I thought he was the main character.
Exactly.
I thought he was leading that revolution of the of the military, like a rebellion inside the military against itself. You know what I mean?
Right. Which he kind of is, but it's that story is not fleshed out. It's more of in the background, and at the very end of the script, it ends with John Wink. So it's like, yeah, it's setting more stuff up, but it's like, just end the story at some point. There's just too many, things where it's like you could have ended here, and they just kept going and going and going.
Well, like you said, because you set up, like Simeon, Draga, the dictator guy, the DHS. Now you have like 4 or 5 major villains, so now you have to hunt each one of them down individually and take them out. So it's like each one of those is like an additional ending.
Right.
What do we got from Linda?
Hey, Linda.
The evil is a person, as in the devil in human form. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, I mean that's how it kind of seems with these demonic characters. Here's Daniel viciously pistol whips Severson nearly unconscious. Remember me? Severson hangs his head. Words are useless, and he knows it. Daniel forces him inside the back of a prisoner truck. Even that whole was it the FEMA camp scene when is it Daniel goes back in there to find Kelly, and it's like I got what he was going after, but it's after a while it seemed to be like kind of dragging like out. Like, would that even be possible to go to one of these complexes and find one person? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like a freaking difficult task. Like, unless you had some way to, like GPS or something, some way to like pin it down, in a tactical manner. Like, it was, I understood like that's what he has to do to find her, but it's just like, dude, it seems like, how are you going to go down there and spend hours going from cell to cell trying to look for one person? And it's like, they're not going to,
that's another Star Wars reference, though, too. When
Luke looking for Leia,
looking for Leia.
Yeah, on the Death Star. Yeah,
on the Death Star.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing. Star Wars is one of those things you can find Star Wars in anything. You know what I mean?
That's true. No, you're right. You're right. That's not fair. Yeah.
But we could do
Straight State. Oh yeah, I was because I'm always looking whenever you title something in a film. When I watch a film, I'm looking for them to say the name of the film. You know what I mean? And so I was looking for what the heck is the gray state in this, and I still never really.
Well, I think that's I think that's the whole thing, right? The gray state is like this gray area that you can't, it's everything. It's the demonic, right. It's the demonic force. It's the police state. It's all one thing. It's the gray state universe. Remember when they said gray state universe? It's like it's the gray state universe. You know what I mean? So it's like. I get what you're saying of like looking for the name in the film, but sometimes you're not supposed to. Like you're already there. That's the thing. You're already in the gray state. And then with gray state being a semi-real project, you know what I mean? They were just like they were trying to come up with new things. We're like vaccines. Wait, no, they're about to do that. Police state. Damn, they're doing that too. So
it covers all.
I mean, realistically, let's go to prisoner transport truck A20 day, page 132 on the PDF. A blade slowly pulls out of Severson's belly. He screams. Max and Daniel stand over him in the back of the prisoner truck as it bounces along. They're now wearing army uniforms. Daniel leads in close. Max, hold him. Flash of the blade. Daniel slices Severson's inner thigh. There's an immediate jet of blood as Severson screams. No, oh my God, that's Severson. Daniel, you have 30 seconds before you lose consciousness. Your heart will stop in 3 minutes. Tourniquet, please. Daniel, please don't do this. Please, sir. Please let us out. Severson shudders and gasps. Max is shocked by the violence. Listen carefully, you fucking rat. It's done. In a few minutes, you'll be added to the pile, forgotten forever. Shh. Now, shh. It could have been worse. Severson, I'm sorry. They had my. Severson begins to blink slowly. He's bleeding out. Daniel leans in close and whispers, Hey, this isn't about information. Look up. Look at me. Severson looks. His breath slows. Behind him, Max's lip trembles. A tear streaks his dirty face. Daniel sees Max, looks down at the knife and puts it away. Severson dies, eyes open. What do you guys think? Pretty
brutal.
Gritty?
Very gritty.
Pretty grimy.
Is it necessary? Does it further the story?
I think so. It doesn't further the story, but I think that guy had to go in a brutal fashion because he was scum.
He definitely
slicing his leg artery.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. That's pretty brutal.
I don't understand. Like, it seemed like he was trying to get information. He's like, by the way, I don't need any information, you rat.
Right.
And just let him die out. That was grimy, man. That was grimy.
Yeah, this is Daniel turning. This is the paranormal. There's something that is living within Daniel, and it's coming out. It's referenced in the script several times, but towards the end, it's coming out, and there are people. The Simeon wants to bring it out, basically.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what? When I realized that, I was like, what the heck?
The only problem is, like, let's go into the Stephen King freaking aspect. When he's having those demonic dreams, like, I felt that would have been extremely awkward on camera. Like, it would have given it a very B-movie vibe that obviously that other script doesn't have at all. I don't mind seeing the whole ritual body swap thing at the end, but to try to put those breadcrumbs in there, like he's going to be having these demonic visions throughout the whole freaking story. It was like, I just didn't like the way it was done with like the bears coming out of his chest. Like, it seemed very like Akira, and I've already seen so many things. I've already done that before. So it was just like, it seemed unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like you were saying, it seemed super unnecessary. Like, I get it, because you got to plant that seed that there's something inside him. But I was like, I think it could have been done without him having those visions, because it after like 3 or 4 of them, it just became kind of corny, and you already knew it was going to happen, you know?
That's true.
That's true. Unless you can explain it, you know, was he a MK Ultra? Did they operate him on him in the service? Like, is there some reason, you know what I mean? If they, other than what was shown in the beginning with the unrealized freaking Nazi theme. I think I had something about, I think it was maybe about Christian's death. But I don't think I have a page on it. So basically, one thing we could go into that I did like, that I thought was pretty cool. I could get your feedback on it, was the 3D gun theme.
That was pretty cool.
That's pretty nuts, huh?
I thought that was a nice way. It's like, because you always wonder about that. Okay, if they take away the guns, they take away the bullets, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that was a smart way to do it. Having the open source blueprint, sending everybody the open source blueprint of the 3D gun, so everyone can make homemade guns to defend themselves. That was pretty clever, because you always you always hear about people doing crazy stuff with that. I personally don't know anything about 3D printing, but I obviously know what it is and what they were referring to.
I kind of felt like they should have hinted more a little bit towards that. Maybe someone who was into the 3D printing, or who had done it for other reasons, and then now they come up with this way to make some 3D print guns. Or there's just a lot of things like that I felt just really weren't fleshed out here. And it seems like when you compare the 2013 and the 2014 script, if David was like, well, let me try to flesh some of this stuff out, and he just ended up cutting it, just cutting to pretty much where you just have what I felt was kind of closer to what I think a lot of people wanted when they watched it. I felt the 2014 script was a lot closer. I don't know who this 2013 script is really made for. Is it made for the horror movie audience? Is it made for the Quentin Tarantino? I'm just not really sure.
The genre bending, and I think that's the thing about Gray State, is it's that Gray State universe is it's supposed to have that genre blending, where you can have the as you said, the military industry complex, police state, and then you could have the supernatural, occultic ritual. But yeah, that's a good point. It is very Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez. It's like Dusk Till Dawn, where you think you're watching a crime heist movie, and then the vampires burst out halfway through. You think you're watching a police state film, and then the demons rip out of the occult ritual halfway through it. You know what I mean? It's all about the All about the genre blending. I suppose King has done some of that as well. Looks like we got a pretty cool fight. The 147, the big fight with or 144 to 147, the big fight with the Rangers and the night vision. Bring you guys in here. A Ranger platoon hustles in a 81 millimeter mortar section to the roof and begins laying it in. Below them, more Rangers commandeer Abrams tank at the parking lot. Militia place more EFP explosives in dead cars, angling down empty streets, waiting for enemy armor. All along the street, militia prepare for the attack. Shane sets an EFP and signals to Daniel, who signals behind him to the Ranger captain. On the hotel roof, mortar rounds are hung in the tubes. Snipers acquire targets milling about in the parking lot and op center. A pair of enemy tanks idle near the gate. The captain walks into the street and pops a flare. The Ranger sergeant on the roof signals for the mortars, rounds thump in tubes. There's a long pause as the troops wait for the blasts. All at once, rounds impact all across the gate and parking lot. The Ranger tank rounds the hotel corridor, firing into the closest tank. Gunfire explodes across the lanes as the second tank is taken out. Jay leads her squad across the street through the gap behind the Ranger tank as it crashes through the fence, crushing the gate. On the roof, the mortar squad switches ammo. Ranger Sergeant load Willie P. Shane watches as Jay and her whole squad are cut down in a burst of gunfire. The Ranger tank is knocked out. This is all we have left. Push. That was Daniel. So this is a pretty wild sequence here. I guess I'll give it a little more for you guys. The whole militia line surges across the street and into the lot as snipers and mortars open fire. Shane finds Jay on the ground as the nearby tank's ammo ignites, flames shooting out from hatch and cannon. Friendlies across the battlefield wear red chem lights for ID. The advance looks like a rave through Max's night vision. Yeah, I really like that night vision shot. Militia swarm enemy vehicles, dropping Molotov cocktails down turrets, flares, flashes, screaming. Max's bullets find targets as more militia and Rangers push into the parking lot. Yeah, gets pretty extreme there, guys. It's a big fight. This a little more. He spots a line of enemy troops advancing behind an armored truck and knocks them all out from back to front. 26, 27. That's Max counting off like a lunatic. White phosphorus mortars impact, burning the Humvee and everyone around it. Max's eyes go blank from the carnage. Op center, night continuous. Overhead predator drones look down at the battle. DHS director. Sensors, beam riders off. Just glass that line, the whole line. Reggie throws his headset and gets up. The fuck are you doing, specialist? Reggie rushes at the director, knocking him to the ground, pummeling him as hard as he can. He is yanked up from behind by the burly security contractor. So it's basically just freaking chaos of, that DHS director's op center falling apart while that giant revolution battle plays out versus the Rangers.
It's a big one. It's a big battle.
Yeah.
And it's like, who is Reggie now? They haven't built up Reggie or anything.
Yes, that's what I love. It's just like the further it goes, they just start adding more and more guys to the point where it's just like, dude, like a friggin' yeah. Oh, okay. Fuck yeah. Let's go to when the DHS director dies. Fuck it. Just because we're here. Light, sparks, and smoke. The militia. This is gonna give even more guys that we're unfamiliar with. Light, spark, and smoke. The militia assaults through the op center, killing indiscriminately. Jay and Shane annihilate a bank of drone operators. Work brigade stooges go down as Daniel pushes into the room. The big security contractor comes up, slamming Daniel with an elbow. Daniel elbow drives him into the wall with his body and beats him up repeatedly with the butt of his rifle. He follows up with a double tap as the director cowers on the ground. To DHS director, no, please. Chad rams his rifle into the director's mouth and fires. Reggie lies dead nearby. Shane tosses an incendiary grenade as they move out. Who the hell was Chad? Do you remember a Chad?
I don't remember a Chad.
And they made the freaking DHS director up to be this huge badass when you already had those other main villains, and then Chad made it such a big event to freaking double tap him in the mouth with the rifle. Freaking page. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we'll wrap soon, guys. We're just gonna take you out a little bit. Page 148. The Ranger captain. This is your fucking home. Hold it. Yeah. There's just some more chat in there. It just gets out of control there, guys. But yeah, there's that big fight. I like that rave scene in the night vision. That was badass. I mean, I basically think take the more native themes, the Lakota thing. I want to see that versus the demonic energy. I do like the 3D gun print thing. That was cool. A little bit shorter scenes in parts and just better flow. You know what I mean? I think take the best parts out of both and just I'd say that's probably how they would wield it all together and fix it. I guess okay, we could probably briefly run over this ending actually, just to be honest with you, because I was like extremely confused by this. This is where the shapeshift happens and they're trying to Simon is trying to switch bodies with Daniel. He's trying to take over his body or whatever.
They're trying to bring out, the way I read it, if I remember, they're trying to bring out something that's in Daniel, this spirit, basically. Yeah,
they do another ritual, which is similar to the ritual Daniel was seeing in the beginning of their grandfather, the Nazi officer. And again, like what it just said that he was like a Nazi in Nazi Germany, but it didn't ever say if like he was SS, like, you know what I mean? So I think his character would have required a little bit more background and more in order to fully realize this. But yeah, it's like basically one of the last scenes. They've captured Daniel and Kelly. Spoiler alerts, guys. Sorry, you can skip over if you don't want to hear the ending. And they're basically doing this ritual, which similar to the one they were doing at the Grove, which the whole thing of them trying to get the book. And this is where he tells him, like, oh, we had the demonic energy all along. We didn't need the book. And I was just like, all right, why? You know what I mean?
Yep.
That threw me off. But it's an interesting scene. I think it needs a little bit more polishing on, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell there. It's just it does get a little crazy. It's like, okay, they want to kill him, but they don't want to kill him. I don't know.
And they both have that same dream sequence ending, right? Which with him like seeing over the dream sequence and the kind of voiceover narration. I thought we could probably do a little bit better of an ending since there's like clearly so much effort in all these other acts. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just my opinion, guys. But I don't know. Check it out, guys. Whip over to Greg's site, the Gray Stage WordPress. Get copies of both. Check them out. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Which one do you like better? Do you like 2013 better? Do you like 2014 better? Do you like either of them? What else would you guys like to see from this universe? There's some cool characters. There's definitely some cool kills. There's some grimy stuff. Like me and Greg said, there's probably just a little bit too much. I think it would be pretty tough. I think if you saw an industry rewrite, I think that you would see a lot of the stuff get clipped. You know what I mean? And just probably stick to a couple main good guys, a couple main bad guys, and you know Hollywood guys, they like to simplify stuff. Unless someone's going to put up the most amazing independent budget that we've ever seen and literally do it 100% accurately, I don't even know how that would be. I guess if you crowdfunded like $10 million, I don't even know if that would be enough. You know what I mean? So, But if you had some amazing director that knew how to stretch a budget, like the guy that did Deadpool 1, you know, you could probably get something done. But how do you get those people? You know?
Yeah. Got to have a really good pitch, I think. And there's
for sure
too much here. You know, how do you break all of this down into a couple of sentences, into a 2-sentence pitch? You know, it'd be really, really difficult, especially trying to describe the ending and what happens at the ending. You know, I don't know too many people who get beat up so bad that this demon comes out of them and they're all of a sudden wrestling with it, fighting with it. They think that they win and then they end up losing. And then they end up in a cab at the end. Daniel ends up in a car with Simeon, and they're just driving. And I was like,
which means like he controlled him, so you know what I mean.
Basically, basically.
That whole little stadium scene when they're up there in that little ritual room, and then it's like the big Roman Colosseum outside for the bread and circus. It's like, I got it, but there was just something that didn't land right. You know what I mean? Like I ate it, but it didn't stick to my ribs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just expected so much more, especially like you said, since that Bohemian Grove scene was such a peak. You know what I mean? And then you kind of go to these valleys, and then you go to this scene that, and again, I think a lot of it is because you're reading it. So if you're watching it on screen, it helps, like you said, with the visualization. But just reading it, I was kind of like, dude, I'm kind of lost. I can't even tell if he's trying to like steal his body, or if they're trying to switch bodies or inherit bodies, or if he's going to be both bodies. Is it a hive mind? What are we doing with this thing? You know what I mean? And partly that's because they never fully fleshed out that satanic sect of what exactly they do. You know what I mean?
Right.
With the Nazi thing to the Bohemian Grove thing. You know what I mean?
Yep, and then pulling the baby out of Kelly's body, and Kelly dies, and then basically Daniel is sitting there with the guy that just killed his wife, tried to kill him, has kidnapped his child, and he's just chilling at the end.
Yeah, he doesn't care anymore because he's like being controlled. You know what I mean?
It's really odd.
But it's like weird, and that's also what I said. Like, okay, like I guess all the other Patriots got killed off because at one point we had like 20 good guy main characters, so you wouldn't have had any backup plan to try to, you know, I get it if it's some sort of like New World Order dictator, they obviously have the power and the troops and all that stuff, but like since these guys, you know, created a revolution, right? So they're obviously creative enough to put together a plan. They had it organized in all these paramilitary operations, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm thinking you would have had like some other plan, like, dude, even with drones, even with all the options you have nowadays, you would have had some way of getting at those guys. Like, dude, if my son gets kidnapped and I'm under control of a demonic spirit, then send in one of the drones and bomb the freaking vehicle while me and Nikasi are in there and kill us both. Like, you would have had some plan, even if it was sacrificing it yourself, right?
Right.
And if you're a military veteran, you know, you're obviously going to be aware of that risk. You know what I mean? So.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I would expect to see something like that, even if it just ends up being a self-sacrifice, like for the greater good. Then you would have became the martyr of the revolution. I mean, that's kind of what the feeling I got when I saw the original friggin' concept trailer. I'm like, probably if he goes all the way up to fighting at a freaking presidential, you know, general level, you know, they might get him, but. You know what I mean? He might have to like somehow self-sacrifice himself. You know what I mean? But again, like Greg said, instead you get this pseudo Stephen King ending, and it's a little confusing for me. But feel free to let us know what you guys think. I think Sophia, you definitely read it, right?
Yeah.
So let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is cool. Like I said, I definitely think for me this one was a lot closer what I was looking for. I totally feel you on the police state concept though, but I think that's something that could easily be weaved in and out of. Like you're gonna have your main character storyline, right? You're gonna have that for a backdrop, and then yeah, if it's this pure evil, then you know you're gonna have some sort of some sort of element of that, you know, at the top, which does make some sense. But
yeah, I was hoping for some more of that demon stuff. I guess I felt like there was like two different movies happening, and I was hoping they were going to merge somehow at the very end. So it's like, if you're just going to do the demon stuff, man, just go for it. Just go the whole way. But there has to be some type of ending. There has to be some type of payoff, not just Danny August Mason's character standing in front of a car.
Terrible.
Daniel Walker is in.
They tried to do that whole 1984 thing, right? Because didn't he join Big Brother at the end? So they tried to bring you back to it of the freaking him chanting at the Big Brother rally, which is like, okay, so Big Brother always fucking wins. I thought the point of Gray State was going to be. I thought the point of Gray State was going to be the 3% Patriots were going to win this one time, even if this was the only victory we ever get, fucking in science fiction history. You know what I mean?
Chad's fault. It's all Chad's fault. Once Chad dies, then that's
it's all Chad and fucking Danny August Mason's fault for writing Chad. So our boy Christian, I thought Christian died at one point, and it was pretty grimy. I was looking for his death. Yeah, Christian, his wife, and 3 kids are dragged into the living room. One mercenary hands dragging a baggie of pills. Page 125. Mercenary almost escaped. I suppose you heard the news. The war is coming. Dragon shakes the baggie in Christian's face. But don't you worry about that. Christian says nothing. Behind him, the mercenary observes the briefcase object on the wall. It has rendered a sonar layout and shows the locations of everyone inside the house. Got him. Dragon pulls a knife and leans over Christian as the mercenaries prepare to open the fridge. You will probably survive this. Yeah, again, I'm not even sure what was happening right there. To be honest
torture.
With you,
sounds like they're torturing him.
Yeah, but why would you tell someone like he just wants to like make an example out of him? Because you will probably survive this. It's like a veiled threat. It's like honestly, like if millions of people are have died, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What would make you think if one of the high level officers is torturing you that he's gonna let you out of it or let you live for that matter? You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, it's good stuff, guys. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Sophia seems to be in agreement with me. She liked the 2013 one more, and it just needs to be polished up. Yeah, I'd say the same. But yeah, these are basically the only deep dives of these two scripts I know of, guys, that me and Greg have done. So we'll see if maybe any versions ever drop. Of course, stay tapped in with Greg and the team over there at the Gray State. Subscribe to that channel. Follow the WordPress, Gray Stage WordPress. We're both on Twitter, so we'll be tweeting this stuff out. Make sure you like, sub, and share. That's basically all I got on Gray State 2013. It was pretty epic. I think it was damn long. That's the other thing too, like the pacing, right? Because some of the scenes are just like super short, like going through a checkpoint. Some people get mowed down, and then other scenes are like massively long. So there's no like rhyme or reason to it. It just needs a smoother through line of the pacing to just be able to go up and down and move into the next scene. And that's, like you said, with the oversaturated amount of characters, it's just difficult to do that. You know what I mean? Because they just keep coming out of the woodwork. But it's pretty cool, man. Shout out to you guys for finding that, and your members for screenshotting the pictures, because it was great for me. Like I said, that was a funny story when I was like, dude, yeah, I crushed it, dude. I read the script. I totally know what I'm talking about. Greg's like asking me which one I read. Like I had no idea there was two versions. I had no idea. So once I figured that out, that put me on point. We got through most of my notes. Yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. Both of them are quite a bit different, so it would have been interesting to see if anything either happened with both of them. I still think it would make an amazing video game, you know, if a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter.
True.
You don't got to worry about knowing names. You just go straight through that plot line, mowing down those bad guys, and you'll be at the ending in no time. So,
yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
That was badass, man. I liked her. Even a graphic novel. I think at one point they had talked about doing some graphic novel type stuff. That's pretty cool, because then you don't have to worry about the logistics of shooting. You know, you just got to find a really good artist, which could be hard enough. You know what I mean?
I think David did have plans for a video game, web series. I think you're right, graphic novel. So yeah, he was planning on a lot of that stuff. So.
Yeah, like if the movie didn't pop off right away, I would love to have seen just any of that stuff, just to see how it would have looked and made the universe look, and see what direction they would have went with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who knows what's going to happen now? But yeah, guys, let us know. Script version 1 versus script version 2. Completed both of our deep dives. This one was a little discombobulated. We jumped around a little bit, but that's because many parts were very confusing to us. So that's just that's the thought patterns we were led in. But no, there's some cool stuff. There's some good dialogue. There's some good scenes. There are some good characters. I think it just needs a little bit of polishing. But it was cool, man. I would love to see something like that. It's been a while since there was a Red Dawn type of thing. I was telling you about Bushwick last time, right? You got to check that one out. That's pretty nuts too.
I'll check that.
And like I said, an Operation Paperclip movie, dude. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but you know, maybe I just need to write one of those, because I think that's a crazy story that needs to be told. You know, there's a lot out there about it, but you know, again, that's as soon as I saw the Nazi reference, like I said, I was automatically thinking like Operation Paperclip, and then when it went into like a completely different direction, I was like, you know, it's one of those times I tried to predict it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I guess we're just doing Bohemian Grove on this one, like whatever. But again, like Greg said, it was a sick scene. You know, I do think Bohemian Grove is a little bit like overblown. I would have liked to seen something like a little bit fresher. Like, you know, like again with the Nazi thing, I would have expected to see the Black Sun, the Vril Society. You know, like any of those black magic occultic groups that were supposedly in contact with, you know, extra dimensional forces. Like I think that would have given you a pathway to explaining the demonic concept, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then the Order of the Golden Dawn, you know what I mean? I would have expected to see a lot more of that stuff, but who knows? It'll be again, like we said, Hollywood doesn't exactly jump at these topics to make films about, even though you do see little, freaking breadcrumbs of stuff here and there. But it'd be cool if you ever got a full, that was the thing. Gray State was supposed to have the full scale everything, you know what I mean? That's what we were promised, and it never came, you know what I mean? That's what I really wanted to see. But man, who knows? It's an interesting script though. I think you guys should definitely check it out, read it. Let us know what you think in the comments. That's the 2013 version. Quite a bit different than the version that we did last time, but there's some cool stuff in both of them. So rest in peace to David Crowley. You guys can keep up with these guys at the group. It's the Justice for David Crowley and Family group on Facebook. Stay tapped in with Greg. I mean, just drop all your places to find you.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, you can join our group. We also have a new Rumble channel, so we're also on Rumble now, kind of still figuring that out. But generally, if you just search, I'm trying not to say Google search, but if you just search for The Gray Stage, David Crowley, all of our stuff will come up. You'll get our website, our videos, all of that stuff. You could take a deep dive, just like we're doing now. Anybody can do that. Anyone can go and look at these documents, download these documents, and figure it out for yourself. You can decide for yourself. The group, a lot of what happens in the group is a think tank. The purpose of the group is to get justice for David Crowley and his family. That is the purpose of the group. Nothing is going to stop us from continuing that. So thank you, brother. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. No, it's awesome, man. I follow what you guys do over there as much as you can. You guys have got the podcast, and you've had some recent breakthroughs with Tony Floyd posting some new material lately.
Yeah, we've got to get you on the podcast. I would love for you to join one of our podcasts one of these months.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, like I said, I'm down. I'm back. Like I said, I'd like to get back over there with you guys at some point. I'm just trying to finish up my current projects and catch up on some of our backed up reviews and stuff. But yeah, I'll definitely rock over there with you. I checked out the last one. It was cool. So like awesome. I said, I mean, it's amazing, man. You guys still find a lot of new material, and it comes up pretty frequently. So you guys are totally on top of it over there.
Yep. Never give up. Never give up. That's it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, support these guys. Subscribe to all their channels, and you can like, sub, and share. Shout out to everybody from the group that came over and subbed with me. And yeah, we'll be doing more stuff with Greg. We'll hopefully have him on for some some of the wrestling commentary, and hopefully get you back for the Zodiac review. I'm trying to do a Zodiac review hopefully next month and get like a few people that know the case really well and stuff, because it's an amazing movie, and I think I've only seen it like once, so I want to run that back as well. So check out my series, The Zodiac Files, episode 3 coming soon. That is our 2013 Gray State script deep dive. And shout out to my man Greg for coming through. Until next time. Thanks, guys. We're out.
Thanks, bro.